Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth from the Trail. Now I've left the Appalachian Trail in Pennsylvania, but I'm still in Pennsylvania, and I'm at you might think an unusual place to call a trail, but there are miles of trails where I am. I am at the Gettysburg National Military Park in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the site of what many historians call the turning point of the Civil War. July of 1863, the Union and Confederate forces, the Army of the Potomac and the Army of Northern Virginia, met here, and just a horrible battle. A real dark time in the history of the United States. And many people say that General Robert E. Lee made some tactical mistakes. Even he said he took responsibility for the battle. I'm at a little picnic spot close to where Pickett made that final charge. If you know anything about Civil War history, you know what I'm talking about. If not, it's okay. But Pickett made this final charge, a really suicide charge, that ended in disaster for the Confederate Army, and it really was a turning point in the war. There are miles of hiking trails. Just this morning, I've seen hikers, walkers, bikers, people walking dogs, a few people doing the auto tour where you just drive around and see the things. But if you ever get a chance to go to Gettysburg, even if you're not into history and the Civil War history, it's a beautiful town. It's a big town, bigger than I expected. And so that's where I am. I'm on the one of the hiking trails that loops through a little picnic area here at Gettysburg National Military Park. Coming through a military park, I thought of a story in the Bible that is about a battle. And I'm having to leave the New Testament and go back to the Old Testament, actually the book of Exodus. And just context, Moses has led the people, the Israelites, out of bondage in Egypt, and they've gone across the desert and the wilderness, and they're on their journey to the Promised Land. And they come across this enemy that they see over and over throughout the Bible, called the Amalekites. The interesting story is that the Amalekites had to fight the Israelites, and the Israelites had to get past the Amalekites to get to where they were going. I'll show you a picture of a place called Little Round Top here in a moment, which was a pivotal battle here at Gettysburg. And Little Round Top is a hill that where the Union forces had a very strategic hold, and they were able to look down on the Confederates coming in, and the Confederates would charge and take land, and then the Union would take it back because they had the high ground. And Little Round Top looking down on Devil's Den, and it's just it's fascinating to me because I've studied Civil War history nearly all my life. It's a fascinating place, but it reminded me of this story. The story says that the Israelites had to fight the Amalekites, and Moses told Joshua to get together an army and go into the valley and fight the Amalekites, and he would go up on this hill where he could look down and see the battle, and he would raise the staff of God and appeal to God for power as the Israelites fought the Amalekites. So that's what happened. Joshua got these guys together. They went to battle, and they fought the Amalekites. And Moses, along with his brother Aaron, and another man named Hur, H-U-R, Hur, these three guys go up on the mountaintop, up there looking down on the battle, and Moses would raise the staff of God and appeal to God for victory. And every time he did, the Israelites would defeat the Amalekites, and they were winning the war. And they were taking the ground, so to speak. But then Moses got tired and he would let his hand down. And when he had let his hand down, then the Amalekites would come and take some ground and start winning the war. So what they did was they found a stone that Moses could sit on, and Aaron got on one side and held one arm up. Hur got on the other side, held the other arm up so that he could hold this staff of God, his staff up to God, and appeal to God for help in the battle. So imagine here's Moses sitting on a rock and Aaron holding this arm and Hur holding this arm, and he's got the staff of God. And as long as he did, the Israelites defeated the Amalekites. And throughout the battle and throughout the day, that's what happened. Here he is holding the staff and appealing to God for help, and the Israelites won the day and won the battle. And Moses was led by God to write down what had happened and to make a memorial, an altar, so to speak. And he called the place, or he dedicated the place as Yahweh Nisi, or Jehovah Nisi, which means the Lord is my banner. And he was told by God that he would be fighting the Amalekites from generation to generation, but that was their rallying place, Yahweh Nisi. And that's the end of the story. And boy, it reminded me of the Confederates taking ground and the Union taking ground, and the generals up there on the top of Little Round Top looking down. And it was just, it just connected to me. So what are our life lessons as we think about that? Well, one life lesson that we see is that there are always going to be battles. It says that the Amalekites were fighting from generation to generation. So we're always going to have battles. But in those battles, there are a couple of things that are very, very important. One is that this Jehovah Nisi, or Yahweh Nisi, it's Hebrew for the Lord is my banner. The banner was the rallying point. It was kind of like the flag, and you'd rally around the flag. We've got to have a rallying point if we're going to defeat these Amalekites in our lives. I've got Amalekites in my life. Not literally, you know what I mean. You've got them too. Things that you just seem like you're always battling, and you're always having to deal with, and there are struggles that come up from day to day, week to week, year to year in your life, and you just can't get by them. They're always there, and you have to have a rallying point, some strength to go to that gives you strength to overcome that battle in your life. For them, it was God. And for me, throughout my lifetime and the Amalekites that I've had to battle, it's been God. Yahweh Nisi, the Lord is my banner. The Lord is my flag. What is your flag? What is that rallying point that you have? You've got to decide that for yourself. For me, it's the Lord. So there's a life lesson, is that I've got to have a rallying point. The other one's pretty obvious, that, and it's almost comical, that he holds the thing up and they win. He lets the thing down and they lose. And I can imagine these Confederates and the Union soldiers battling back and forth throughout the day here at Little Round Top. The friendships, the support. If you're going to battle things in your life, you better have somebody supporting you. And Moses had his brother Aaron on one side holding one arm, and his friend Hur on the other side holding the other arm. And as long as he did, he was able to hold the staff of God up and appeal to God for help. Who are those people in your life that you can go to when you're fighting a battle and you need help? You need someone. Even Jesus had his disciples, and especially James, John, and Peter, his inner core that he went to for support. Who are those people in your life for support? You're always going to have battles. You need a rallying point, something that gives you strength, and you need friends around you that will support you in times of need. Well, I'm going to get back on the auto tour, and I've already gone through it one time. I'm going to go finish it one last time, and then head back to North Carolina. And that's where I'll be next time I see you on Truth from the Trail.